What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. It is the 13th day of September, and here we are sitting at about $119. 34 minutes left in the day right now. You have moved up a good bit this whole month, right? I'm actually kind of curious, if we're looking at this on a daily time frame, how have you fared versus Bitcoin? So Bitcoin from its low on the 1st, let's just say to its high, it's up 8.8%. How much has Litecoin moved? You would expect it to be more, right? Oh, it has moved up more. Okay, good, good. That's good to see, yeah. So that just, further exemplifies what we all know to be true, which is that when this alt season begins, Litecoin's likely going to outperform Bitcoin. Between now and the end of the cycle, it's absolutely going to outperform Bitcoin. With that, I wouldn't think it's a far stretch of the imagination that it'll outperform Solana. It'll probably, even as crazy as this might sound to some people, outperform XRP. And I have some very high prospects for XRP, you guys. I think XRP will be at $40 to $70 by the end of the cycle. It's worth $3 now. So crazy things are coming for Litecoin, right? A lot of crazy things are coming. If we're looking at this here, $120 right now, 33 minutes left in the day. Whew. Oh man, I don't know how to explain this, guys, but I feel really good about Litecoin. I think there's going to be some magic that's happening here. We're looking at this on an overall kind of accumulative phase here. Higher lows, higher highs. We're in this range where we've just been accumulating since 2022. This chart looks phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. It's spectacular. It's everything and more of what you want to see. And I really do wonder if we're not bullish enough. I really do wonder if this move is going to take you to new all-time highs just straight away. Like, what if you don't stop at this $300 to $400 area? I've been calling for that for such a long time, but after giving it some thought, right, I expect Litecoin to outperform the average altcoin between now and the end of the cycle, okay? This next phase, not the end of the cycle, but this next phase for the average crypto should give you anything from like a 2.5x to about a 4x move, okay? We put Litecoin at its all-time high. It's all-time high at $420, and that's about a 3.5x, which means it's performing on average, which is fine. That's fine if you do that. It's fine if you stop at $350 or $300. You're still performing on average with the average altcoin, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think a crypto that's been consolidating for multiple cycles, whenever it breaks out, is going to perform on average. And I really wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this next period, by the end of this move, you're actually dramatically higher. I think I've been looking at this wrong. Maybe, maybe not. With that being said, before we get into this next part, let me just say it's completely possible, and it is okay for Litecoin to stop at anything from like $300 to $400. Okay, that's what we've been talking about for months now as the next target area. But I'm really starting to come around to the idea that we're going to just gun straight for new all-time highs, okay? Which would then imply that the minimum target is double what we expected the maximum target to be, okay? This next move could be all the way up at $805, maybe up to $2,000. We could be at multiple thousands of dollars by the end of the year, because the way that this delay in movement across the space is taking place, we're getting to that end of the year part. We're getting to the beginnings of alt season and everything, and how I know that the structure of these markets move, and this is my third bull cycle, so what do I know about markets and their dynamics and everything? I'm still learning, but in crypto, it's typically not a 1 month thing. It's typically not a 2 or 3 month thing. This is a 6 month or more thing, and there are drawbacks along the way, but these long phases of consolidation, they're not going to be a part of the game anymore. Okay, so understand, by the end of the year, not just by the end of this cycle, but by the end of the year, the cycle will end sometime in, I think, Q2 of 2026. By the end of this year, we will see anything. I would very much believe that it will be above $1,000, but anything from $800 to $2,100. I believe we could be at $800 by the end of October, pressing higher prices going into the end of the year. That would be something on the lines of an 18x just by the end of 2025. 18x by the end of 2025. The average altcoin is expected to do that by the end of the cycle, if not a little bit more than that by the end of the cycle. Now, it's possible that it takes longer, and if all we have by the end of the cycle is a $2,100 price for Litecoin, boo-hoo, oh well. take your Benjamins and wipe your tears with them, okay? 17x, 18x in 6 months, it's not a bad thing at all. But I think you have more. I think what you have is greater than that. I think what you have is a fantastic consolidation phase here, okay? And maybe we've been looking at it wrong. Maybe we've been looking at it wrong. I've been assuming that it was a ascending triangle, right, this whole time. And maybe it is. It looks pretty perfect for that. But maybe it's more of a wedge. And we're certainly behaving like it's a wedge, right? I think, and wedges are notorious for fake outs to the upside and to the downside. They're notorious for this. And regardless, it doesn't matter, potato, whatever. The thought here, though, is that if it's a wedge, I think that the likelihood that we break through this area goes up, where if it's an ascending triangle, the likelihood that we stop here goes up. Does that make sense? And maybe we stop there for a month. Maybe we stop there for 4 weeks, but we're sure as hell not doing this. We're going to be moving up in a short amount of time. Maybe we move up here by the end of October, and then by the end of the year, we're all the way up at $1,500. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to look. I do expect it's going to be miraculous. And I think that if you showed any person who's done technical analysis for, let's say, at least 5 years, but especially the guys that are old school, that have been doing technical analysis since before I was even born, if you showed them this chart, they didn't know it was a cryptocurrency, but you showed them this chart like this, okay? And you show them it was on a monthly time frame. They don't know what it is. They're just looking at it here. They would literally be on their hands and knees thanking you, being like, dude, you found a golden goose. This literally is a blessing right now. This is a true blessing. I can't believe that you showed me this before it went to Valhalla. I can't believe you showed me this before it went on its straight moon mission, because we're going to get a replica of what we saw back here. And maybe not to the exact percentage, right? Let's just see. I mean, that would be pretty nuts, but maybe. Let's just see. From a low to a high here. I mean, that would be, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but to be completely fair, Litecoin to 10K by the end of the cycle? I'm just saying, it's possible. It's something that could happen. It genuinely is. I don't think we're going that high, but if we look at this from a high to a low, I mean, hell, we could go to 13K. I remember, I think it's 14 or 15,000 was the highest target that I've given this cycle for Litecoin. Anything's possible. We could go higher, right? Anything's possible. Maybe we stop lower. But I genuinely believe the minimum target by the end of the cycle will be something of about $2,000, the $2,100. The maximum target by the end of the cycle will be something around $15,000. I have it at 16,000. Maybe it's at 16,000. Or the area that I'm the most confident about is this kind of in between at 4,500 to 6,300. I feel pretty damn safe about that. You know what's a chart that we don't look at too often that I want to look at right now is the Litecoin to Bitcoin chart. I want to look at this chart real quick and kind of go over it. Let's look at it on a monthly time frame. It's probably bad, yeah. Probably very bad, because versus Bitcoin, you've been very bad. But last cycle, or not last cycle, sorry, 2017, we had a nice move up. 2021, where was it? It's right here. Wow, we only had 2 months of upside. That was very pathetic. That hopefully we get a move that's a little bit more pronounced than that. You know, here we do have bullish divergence on our monthly time frame, monthly RSI. The stochastics have bullish divergence as well, where we didn't have that last cycle. And the MACD has been severely diverging on its oscillators here. Higher lows since 2020, you guys, for years. And we've got these lower lows here. Litecoin could truly do something spectacular versus Bitcoin. And it would have to if the US dollar price is to achieve something up in this area here. And I think it will. I think it will. Where are we going to go for Litecoin versus BTC? Maybe you stop. Come on now. Right here. Or maybe you stop in this area. Prior support becomes resistance. You know, that would be a lower high zone. Maybe you do. Maybe you break the structure and you come up and you actually find resistance right here. Prior resistance, prior support right there. Maybe you go even higher than that. But I think you've got the right kind of, is moniker the right word? You've got the right implications, the right indicators to suggest that you're going to go higher. And if we look at this, something that I say all the time on this channel, if you guys watch my videos, you know I say downtrends typically end, which you have a downtrend here. You have lower highs and lower lows. I didn't draw it the best, but lower lows, lower highs. You have a downtrend. They typically end in the oversold zone with bullish divergence, which you have on the monthly time frame. If this downtrend's ending and you're starting an uptrend versus Bitcoin on the monthly RSI, that the potential there is intense, to say the least. Okay, why would Litecoin this coin that nobody seems to talk about, nobody seems to care about, right? And I'm not saying you guys. The majority of people watching this video, you guys probably are holding Litecoin or maybe you're interested, right? Why Litecoin? Why not Ethereum? Why not Solana? Why not blah, 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 blah? I have a few theories as to why Litecoin, okay? Litecoin, you know, because of Litecoin, Dogecoin has very high, what's the word I want to look for? Network capacity or it operates efficiently and effectively. It's because of Litecoin. Dogecoin piggybacks off of the mining capacity of Litecoin. That's essentially what happens. And I'm not the most experted person in all this, but I'm pretty sure it's something more or less exactly like that, right? If I'm wrong by a couple of details. Please fill me in the comments, right? But Litecoin Dogecoin's success is largely attributed to Litecoin. Okay, and Dogecoin's in the top 10 cryptos. Litecoin is way down the list, you guys. We look at the list. Let's see, where is Litecoin? All the way down to number 19. Okay, number 19, and it could get flipped any moment into the number 20 spot. Litecoin also, out of all of these cryptos in the top 100, out of all of the cryptos in the top 3, it is actually the third, if not the second, most accepted by merchants in the space. There's a back and forth between it being Ethereum or Litecoin, right? And the more that I look into it, the more that I see it's Ethereum that has more merchant acceptance, and maybe it does. Maybe it does. But Litecoin has literally the third highest merchant acceptance in the space. It's got it, and if you don't accept that, look it up. Do your own research. If I'm wrong, maybe XRP has overtaken it barely, but Litecoin is right there, right? It has some of the highest merchant acceptance in the space, which professionals who have been doing this stuff for a lot longer than I have said that merchant, whenever it comes to cryptos and what's going to promote value and what's going to be here for the long term, merchant acceptance matters. Every crypto, it doesn't matter what project you're thinking of, what project you're invested in, every crypto desires merchant acceptance to be utilized in the real world. That will promote more value and a more sustainable, solid ecosystem for the project than anything else, right? Because these are not businesses that we're investing in. We don't, their value is not directly tied necessarily to the success or the failure of whatever projects are underlying. These coins, it's not like a stock. It's different. We oftentimes assume that they are like stocks, but the thing is with Litecoin, whenever you have merchant acceptance, it gets kind of closer to being something like that, right? Like it's accepted, and maybe not even a stock, maybe it's something more, a currency. There's an airplane flying out in this weather, man. It's not that windy. It's just rainy, a little drizzly. It's been raining all damn day, which is nice. In this part of Colorado, you guys, we have not had a lot of rain, so it's nice to get some rain. Anyways, it could be it's a currency, which is fundamentally more sound than a stock, in my opinion. We'll see if that's true. The third, if not the second most utilized crypto by merchant acceptance in the space, and it's the number 19 coin. It's way down here. You're going to slingshot past all of these things, man. I really think that when it comes to the top 20 coins, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Tron, even Dogecoin, I think they're all undervalued. I really do. But Dogecoin's ahead of all the other three. It doesn't make sense to me, man. Litecoin, I mean, in time, you know, it'll probably get flipped. Dogecoin's more inflationary anyways. But it's at a deflationary rate, right? Dogecoin will always be inflationary, but the rate of its inflation is lesser than the dollar's rate of inflation. So, isn't it? Let me actually see here. Let me double check this real quick. Dogecoin, circulating supply, 150 billion. You get 15, I'm pretty sure it's like $15 billion new Dogecoins a year. So no, the rate of inflation for Dogecoin is actually higher than the dollar, but at some point it will decrease. Anyways, this is a Litecoin video, not a Dogecoin video, okay? Purpose being, we're going to $4,500 to $15,000 by the end of the cycle, okay? And we might see, I'm starting to come around to the idea that we might actually go to $800 or higher by the end of this next phase, by the end of October, if not by the end of the year. By the end of the year, certainly we will be higher than that. That's my expectation, but we could genuinely be at $800 or more by the end of October in itself. I think that this move, what's going to happen, this next move that's coming, will be more bullish than the whole bull cycle that we saw last time. Okay, this last bull cycle, this next move, which I'm not saying the end of the bull cycle. Between now and the end of the bull cycle, yes, this cycle is going to be more bullish than the last cycle. But this next move, just this next phase, before we consolidate again and then we continue to rally, then we top off at the end of the cycle, this next move will be more bullish than the whole last cycle. It'll happen faster. It'll be larger. That's what I'm anticipating is coming our way. So I don't have anything else that I want to say. I hope you guys are excited. I hope that everybody invested in Litecoin has packed their bags. They're ready to go. The daily RSI looks immaculate. The stochastics, the MACD, it all looks fantastic. The weekly time frame here, same thing. Couldn't ask for a better look. Bouncing off the 50 here, bouncing off the 50 there on the RSI, above the 50 in both accounts actually. After rejecting the overbought zone too, you're showing a lot of strength. And once you get above, I'll get excited once you're above like $135. But really, I think considering that we have a trend here, right, higher lows or higher highs, higher lows, I'm not drawing it the best, but you can kind of see. I would think that once we're above 160, that's when you're home free. That's when you're breaking out of this. That's when it's time to start thinking about new all-time highs. Okay. And again, $800 is that minimum target. I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. All right. Bye.